Hey guys, today I'm going to show you something really exciting. It's how I went about making Frodo's lightsaber, or Sting. It looks absolutely amazing, so I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Let's get to how I made this. I first started off with 3D printing as normal, but obviously there's no 3D models around for Frodo's lightsaber. There's lots of 3D models for Frodo's sword, so that's what I started off with. So with the 3D model that I found, I'll link it down below. I cut it up a little bit, moved bits around, resized until it was the right dimensions that I could actually fit all the lightsaber components in there. So after that, it was time to get them printing on the 3D printer. So I did these ones on my resin 3D printers as always, because you get a higher quality print. They have a better feel to them because they're really solid and they're really heavy. So printed that on my resin printers. So once you finish printing them, you have to do a little bit of post-processing on the parts. So you got to pull them off the print bed. You do this just with a spatula. Be really careful not to scratch the actual bed that they get printed on, because it'd be really easy to scratch it. So don't do that. Then you need to clean the parts in isopropyl alcohol. So I just put them in my magnetic mixer and leave them in there for around 20 minutes or so. You don't want to leave them in for too long because it can damage the parts, but you need to leave them in there long enough that it cleans off all the excess resin. After you've done that, you need to just give them a quick rinse off in some hot soapy water to get rid of all the excess IPA, and then you can either start curing them or removing the support. So you can see it's a little bit rough under there, but that'd be really easy to fix because it's a nice flat area. I'll just be able to go back later once I've cured it and sand that down. So for now, I'm just going to cure all these parts in the curing box, and then I'm going to go back, sand them down, sand that down, and clean them all up ready for assembly and painting. I have all my parts cut and ready for assembly. So I just got some extra PVC connectors and pipes which have been cut to the right size, and now it's time to actually put it together. So the first thing I think I'm going to work on is the handle or the pommel section. So this will slide in there. I've got a little bit of extra PVC which slots in, so I can just start gluing. So there's probably 1,000 different ways you could put this together, but the way that I want this to work is for the handle to split apart in the middle so that you can gain access to the battery in there to charge it. So to do that, I need a connector in the middle, like that. So what will happen is you'll be able to pull it apart like that. That's enough friction fit to hold it together as much as you need. So now it's time to glue in the coupler for the lightsaber blade into the end, and then also the inner PVC core to give it a bit of strength and line the button up. So to glue this bit in, I'm just going to use super glue because I need this bit to be really strong. Got to make sure I put it in the right way. And this I have to be quick with because the super glue will dry up really quick. So I'm going to do it on the edge of the bench here. Alright, so I've got my coupler for the lightsaber blade glued in. Now it's time to put in the PVC core. So I'm just going to use some pretty standard glue. I don't want to use super glue because it dries way too quickly, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this in. This will take a couple of hours to dry, but it'll give a really solid hold, so that's all I need. Alright, so I've got the PVC core in there. It is now time to glue the pommel together. So it's just going to be a bit of super glue around the top, and then we'll just glue the two pieces together. Time to start painting these bits, so I'm going to just tape off the inside of the coupler here so we don't get paint all over our lightsaber blade when we're pulling it in and out. And then the rest of it, I'm just going to go over with grey primer to start with, and then probably black over the top of that, and then we'll get on to painting the specific parts. So there's going to be multiple different colours to this. We've got the handle, which is mostly going to be brown and gold. We have the silver parts as well as the gold ring in the middle there. So I'll take a little bit of fancy paintwork, but let's start with grey primer. So I've put the primer down as well as the gloss black. It's time to go over this with silver. So I've taped off the parts of the handle that I want to stay black because I'll paint over that with brown later. but the silver sections and the gold section of the ring here, I'm gonna paint that with silver now, then I'm gonna go over the ring with gold. But the silver will be a nice base for that gold color. So let's go paint these. So I've got my parts printed. I've taken off the tape. The ring is looking really good here, the silver. So now it's time to start painting the handle. So the handle is actually brown, and then the inlay, or the overlay that's going around it is silver. So I first want to paint it all brown, and then I'll go back over with silver. So I've got my pieces painted here. I've put down the brown acrylic paint and then also a clear coat over the top of it. This is a satin clear coat, so you can see it's not too glossy, but also it's not too matte. So I think satin was the right choice for that. Now, to do the silver inlays, whatever they are, over the top of the whole thing, I'm just gonna use a silver permanent marker, and this will work really well because I'll be able to just go over the whole thing with a pen style rather than trying to do this with a paintbrush, and it'll be much more accurate. So I'm gonna go do the whole thing now. Let's see what it looks like. It's time for the last bit of painting that I need to do, and that will be a bit of weathering on this. So a little bit of dirt and grime will make it look especially good. So I've got some black paint. I'm gonna water it down a little bit. And I'm mainly gonna do it around the top here and around the blade. Oh, sorry, around the ring and down the bottom there. So simply all I do, put it on in a really heavy wash. I'm going to take my paper towel and just rub off all the excess. So what this will do is, especially on the cross guard here where there's some writing, it'll really help that stand out. Time to start working on the electronics. So, as with all my lightsabers, I have my USB torch here, which has USB charging in the back there. So what I need to do is start cutting this up. So I'm going to do a cut around here so I can take out the middle of the electronics. I've taken the lens off because I don't want to damage that, but let's go and cut this. Alright, so I've gone and done the cut, which means I can gently pull this all apart. Just like that. I'll need this button out of here, so it just pops out. So I've got our light, our button, our lens. I need a couple more pieces, so I'm just going to go grab those now. So I've got all the pieces I need here. I've got my light source, I've got my spacer, my lens, my button, as well as my blue light filters. So now I need to start putting this together. First thing I'm going to do is just make sure that the light itself is held together nicely. Don't want like the battery falling out or anything like that. So the order that it's going to be is going to be spacer, then the lens, then the light filters. So I'm putting this all together with sticky tape because I don't want to glue all this together, because if I do, then it's permanently glued together, obviously. But I want to have it like this just in case I want to change the color of the light, or if something goes wrong and I need to fix it. If I just tape it all together, it stays in the lightsaber hilt fine, doesn't move around, you don't have any issues like that. But it means that if I need to, I can actually pull it apart and fix it. So with these light filters, I'm just going to put some clear over the front. Put my lens in. And then tape it down there. So what that does is just make sure that it is all held together properly, and then it's not all going to come apart when it's inside the lightsaber. So there we go. Got our blue light. It's got a really nice focus on it. You want to have a fairly thin focus because then it lights up the lightsaber blade a lot better. So now it's time to put this inside the hilt. So the great thing about using tape is, for one, I can pull it apart whenever I need to, and for two, it means that when I'm up to this bit and I need to get a nice snug fit, I can just either add a little bit more tape or remove a little bit of tape, and I can get a really, really good fit. Alrighty, so I've got the light inside the hilt finally. Now it's time to put the button in place. So that simply just slots in there. Use tweezers to get it, to move it around and put it in the right spot. But yeah, slots in there really easily. There you go. Got the hilt finished, but a lightsaber wouldn't be complete without the blade. So I've got a standard long blade here. This one is 93 centimeters long, but I think for a hobbit sword, we want it a heck of a lot shorter. So let's just measure out. I'm gonna just do this by eye and what seems right, but I think a 60 centimeter blade works well. So I'm gonna take off 33 centimeters from this. We'll see what it looks like. So these blades have a film on the inside. So what I need to do is cut where I want to cut, and then with scissors cut the inside film, and then I'm going to use my hot glue gun just to seal that inside film in place. So I'm going to go do that now. And there we go, guys. That is Sting Frodo's lightsaber complete. So I'm really incredibly happy with how that's turned out. It looks great. I love the addition of a really short lightsaber blade. So this one's only 60 centimeters long, so makes it for a nice hobbit lightsaber. It's turned out really well. So thank you guys for watching very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out my other Lord of the Rings lightsaber crossovers. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, thanks very much, guys. See ya.